what are the benefits of increasing our physical activity to at least the minimum requirements? Well, quite a few things actually. First and foremost, let's discuss cardiovascular disease, or CVD. It is the number one killer globally. Yes, I said globally. That means everywhere, worldwide. So much so that depending on where you look at the source and what year it was printed, it could be anywhere from 17 to 19 million people per year die from complications of cardiovascular disease or of cardiovascular disease. That is a huge amount of people globally. And that doesn't even include the amount of people that live with cardiovascular disease but don't die from it or haven't died from it yet. Right now, that number is over 500 million people. Yes, over 500 million people are alive today that have cardiovascular disease. That is just crazy, especially since the two biggest contributing factors to cardiovascular disease are nutrition and physical activity. I mean, both of those are well within our reach to control. So why on earth don't we? One of the other top killers in the world is type 2 diabetes. And a lot of people just live with it for quite some time before they actually die from complications of type 2 diabetes. It has become so prevalent today that it used to be called adult onset diabetes and juvenile onset diabetes when I was younger. It is now type 1, which was juvenile, and type 2, which was adult. The wild thing is that there are so many kids that are getting diagnosed with type 2 diabetes now that it is more than 13 per 100,000 kids per day gets diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. That doesn't make any sense to me, common sense wise. Why would that be going up so much now, but it wasn't that prevalent or really prevalent at all when I was younger? The same two contributing factors, nutrition and physical activity, or lack thereof. And seeing as type 1 diabetes is technically an autoimmune disease, type 2 is not. It is related to lifestyle factors only. There's no genetic component for type 2 diabetes, at least to our current knowledge base, which means that one is 100% within our grasp to control whether or not we get it or can cause it to regress and go away. In both cardiovascular disease, or CVD, and type 2 diabetes, it has been shown that increasing your physical activity to at least twice the recommended minimum requirements for physical activity, it can help decrease and or reduce your chances of getting it and or your symptomology, which means that you would need 300 minutes per week of physical activity, moderate. That's not even vigorous. You can do 150 minutes of vigorous exercise instead, or you can combine the two together of moderate and vigorous. But either way, it's not really asking too much to increase it just by that. One of the other diseases that is very common across the world that is also directly impacted by physical activity, or lack thereof, is cancer. Now, not necessarily all cancers, but primarily the main cancers they have found causal and or correlative evidence showing that the increase in physical activity can either reduce the chances of getting one of these cancers, or it can help reduce the cancer's strength and help with regression. Those cancers currently include bladder, breast, one of the most common, colon, esophageal, endometrial, which I always have a hard time saying, kidney, and stomach. Now, some of these are more common than others, but no matter what, if you had a way to reduce some of the cancer cells you have, wouldn't you take that chance? That being said, I do realize that change is hard. Change is hard for a lot of us. You know, they like to say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I disagree with that. You can, you just have to have a strong enough why in order to teach yourself new tricks. In this case, increasing physical activity. So the question you have to ask yourself is it really worth not changing your life to dramatically impact your chances of getting one of these diseases? Or is this something you're willing to do? Ultimately, the only person who can answer that question is you. So if you decide that you really don't want to risk one of these diseases, or that you already have one and you're trying to reverse it, then adding in some more physical activity might be a great way for you to help either of those situations. Based on all of this information, I have 3 questions for you. The first question is, what do you feel like the benefits would be to you to incorporate some more physical activity into your life? Number 2 is, what do you feel like the best physical activity would be for you to incorporate to help boost you to the highest level of health that you're wanting to achieve? And the third question is, what would be a SMART goal that you can create to incorporate this activity to help boost you towards that health goal that you can set into motion this week?